Hi there, my name is MC Oda, and welcome to the final episode of Season 1 of CraftWorks. Season 2 will be coming up very soon, and I'll have a few more details about that in just a few moments. Alright, now let's go ahead and get this episode started. If you watched last episode, you probably remember me building this pergola out here, and had a lot of fun designing this and building it. And I got a lot of good suggestions about how to make this cooking rack a little bit more, look a little bit better. And a few people suggested hanging it with chains, so I kind of took those ideas. I took all of the suggestions and I kind of worked with some of those ideas, and this is what I came up with. So now it's hanging from the ceiling instead of being mounted to the floor, and it's just got these nice little trapdoors here on the end holding it up. But thanks everybody for those fantastic suggestions. This looks a lot better, and it doesn't block your view of the ocean quite as much when you're sitting here on the couch. So for today's episode, there is one last thing I want to do to kind of finish off this main base build. And that thing that I want to do is not this interior. No. That is way too much work. That is not going to happen. That ship has sailed. But speaking of ships that have sailed, if you saw my thumbnail, you probably know exactly what I'm getting ready to make. So I've always, ever since I started playing Minecraft, over 10, 11 plus years ago, I've wanted to build a Viking Longship. They're just so cool. I've always wanted to build one, but I've always thought that it was kind of outside of my skill set. Well, I was feeling like I wanted to go ahead and give it a try, and as far as where to build it, at first I was thinking about building it down here like it was on the dock, but this thing is just going to be way too big to put here at the dock. And let me pop out in free cam. If I built it here at the dock, the mast is going to be really big and the sail and everything, and it would just completely block the view. I really didn't want to ruin the view of this welcome house here when you come up to the pier. So instead, I think what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to build it out here in the ocean somewhere, not right in front of the build, because I also don't want the ship to block the view of the actual build itself. It'll probably be out there as if it's kind of sailing away. And real quick, before I start building this, let me talk about Season 2 coming up. Like I said, this is the end of Season 1, and Season 2 will be hot on its heels. With the new version of Minecraft just released the other day, and we're just going to probably spend the next week or two just getting this server archived, getting the new server set up, getting all the mods and data packs that we need to make that happen, and we're going to be up and running as quickly as possible. The current plan is to have new Season 2 episodes coming out as early as the first weekend in July. So the weekend following July 4th, just keep your eye out on those and you should start seeing some Season 2 content coming out. Woohoo! Alrighty, so let's go ahead and get this build started. I have everything I need on me in these two shulker boxes right here, and here. I got everything I need to build this longship, and I already designed this ship in Creative. This thing took me hours to design. This is the first time I've ever attempted to do anything resembling an organic build. So the shape of the hull of this ship is very much an organic build, and I probably spent at least 2+ hours just designing the shape of the hull. And I knew I wasn't going to be able to do that here in survival, especially not over the ocean. So I designed it in Creative, and I took a schematic of it, and I'm going to build it now here in the world. All right, well, let me go ahead and sleep away this night and get this build started. Alrighty, I hope you enjoyed that time lapse. Well, there it is sitting beside me, a Viking Longship. Oh man, I'm so excited I was able to figure out how to build this thing. Alright, let me go ahead and show you around the build and let you see some of the details that I put in there. This is really best going to be done in free cam because there's no way I'm going to be hopping all around this boat over the water to show you the details. So let's just first start with the hull. So this hull, this took me a while to figure out like the size and length and width and everything that I wanted to do that really made it feel like it was at the proper scale. But I think I finally did it. And I think the actual scale of the ship, I think that hull, I think it matches pretty well with the scale of the mast. And if you take a bird's eye view, I think that looks pretty good. I think that looks pretty good as far as the size is concerned. Now some of the details I did here in the on the deck here, I did all of basically the bottom in spruce, like unstripped spruce. But then I kind of didn't want it all to be one block, so I kind of mixed in the spruce planks and stairs up here, and I kind of layered them in so that the logs didn't come above that level. And then on this level there was, of course, the stair blocks going into the planks and stuff on the next row. I did add some trap doors and stuff in here for a couple of reasons. Number one, it gives it a little bit of a color difference. It gives it a little bit of dimension as well. And also in some of these I was able to hide some light blocks. And I just turned on the shaders there. You can see exactly where the light block is hidden. Alright, let me turn those back off so my computer doesn't explode. So yeah, so that's the hull. So now, as far as the hull is concerned, I have these. These are basically representing the shields. You know, you often see the shields on the side of the Viking ships, and I guess that would be the warrior shields as they're going off for battle. And I thought these decorations really represented that well. I tried a few different things. I was going to do banners at first. And first of all, I couldn't come up with a good banner design, and also I just don't think they would have looked good. But they might be a little big to be an actual shield that a person would carry, but I think it gets the point across as well as it can in Minecraft scale. And of course the oars. What is a Viking Longship without all of the oars sticking out from it? I didn't go overboard. I didn't put like another one here and another one here. I just kind of kept it between the shields. And like I discovered when I was making the pergola up there, this is a really nice horizontally placed thin block, essentially, these lightning rods. And they match close enough to the color of acacia that they can actually pass for wood if it's combined with the acacia. So I think that made for perfect oars. All right, let me talk about the structure of this part. So now this is where I told you this thing took me hours to design because I have never done really organic shapes before. Just this curve right here, the back of this boat, where it curves up from the hull, kind of comes out and twists around. This took me probably a good 30 minutes to design. You wouldn't believe how many iterations I went through. I went through different shapes. I had some where it just kind of came out. I had some where it came out and went up. Some where it kind of curved different directions up at the top here. And it took me a long time, but I think I finally landed on this design here, and I think that actually worked out really well. All right, now let's see, going forward, now let's take a look at the mast. So I wanted the mast to attach to the ship in a way that it didn't look like it was gonna just completely fall over. So I don't know how they actually connect to the hull of the ship in a real Viking Longship, but I wanted this to feel like it was really sturdy and really stuck in place. And I think this kind of base that I did with this mast really kind of drove that home, and it really looks sturdy to me. All right, now let's take a look at the mast and the sail. So first of all, let's take a look at the shape of the sail. I think that came out really nice. It's kind of that nice, that from the front is the nice square, and then it kind of billows out. This is just the classic Viking ship kind of shape. Now, oftentimes they're drawn where, of course, they're only attached on the ends, so this kind of front billows out as well. That was a really complex curve that I was not able to figure out. So for me, they're attached all the way along it, and they just puff out in one dimension. But I really like the shape of that, and the way I did it to where the wind is kind of puffing more on the top than the bottom, so it's not just like an even, like a letter D. It actually has a little bit of character to it, to where it's kind of like the wind is blowing more at the top of this thing. Really simply, the mast down here, I put these bindings on the end to kind of make it look like that's how the the sail is attached. And of course, this is yet again another place I was able to hide a light block. Where the sail, I'm not sure what these are called, the crossbeam that holds up the sail is attached to the main mast. I wanted this to feel like it was a sturdy attachment, so I kind of added this extra little log here, and then kind of strapped that to this to really make it feel like that was a really sturdy connection. I did the same thing for the one up here as well. There you go, you can see that. And at the top we have the nice little, there's a name for this. I looked it up and I can't remember what it was. Maybe I'll flash it up on the screen here if I can find it again. And I stuck that up here. And again, this is just another convenient place that I was able to hide a light block to make sure that there were no spawns up here on the flag. All right, now let's talk about the dragon head. Oh, the dragon head. I told you this thing took me, what, I don't know, somewhere around 30 minutes or so to design. This thing was probably a good 45 minutes to an hour to design this thing. And that was even before I went in and started putting these texture blocks and stuff in there. This shape, oh wow, this shape took me so long to figure out. I really wanted it to look iconic. Some pictures of longships, you'll see it'll just kind of come up and end. I really wanted it to look like the classic iconic shape. And the sun is going down. Let me sleep real quick. Ooh, that's pretty. Oh, you know what? Let me throw the shaders on. Oh, look at this. Yeah, you can definitely see where I hid the light blocks. Oh, look at that silhouette with the moon and the base. Oh, look at this. This is incredible. Oh, this is so much better than I anticipated. Oh, wow. Check that out. The dragon's eating the moon. Nom nom nom. Oh, wow. Oh my gosh, look at that. Holy cow, with spawn in the background. Oh my gosh. All right, let me go sleep and we'll talk about this dragon neck a little bit more. Okay, real quick, a little bit more about this head. So I wanted to mix in some more blocks to get some texture and some color in there. And again, using the trapdoors, again, using them as color and dimension and texture, but also convenient ways to hide those light blocks. Yeah, I went back and forth with several blocks that I could stick in here that worked out well, and I think the ones I chose worked out pretty well. It gives it some nice little highlights and stuff that are subtle, a little bit of shadows in here with the darker ones. You know, these spruce logs are pulled up through it just a little bit here. I actually threw in a couple of these little the rooted dirt, not rooted dirt, the mud with mangrove roots, whatever the heck these things are called. I just threw just a couple in there just to give a slightly different block that was similar to the color palette, but a little bit different. You know, maybe those spots are weathered a little bit more. And then the head. So the head, this thing took me a long time to figure out. The head, it was bigger, then it was smaller, then it was farther forward, then it was further back, and it was all different blocks that I tried to create some shapes up here. And this is what I settled on. And I think that worked out pretty well, actually. It's not perfect, so the shape of this neck, it's not perfect, but it's pretty darn good, I think. Yeah. I mean, for my first attempt at an organic shape, I think that came out really nice, honestly. All right, let's pop those shaders on one last time. I'm gonna go ahead and clear the screen with F1, and let's just do a little fly around of this thing and just get one more nice final look at this ship. Oh man, oh wow, with the base in the background. Ooh, that's a pretty shot right there. Yeah, also the reason why I did a Viking ship here is this base felt very much like a Viking Norse kind of a thing, and that's why I felt that this ship was appropriate for this base. All right, well, that is my Viking ship, so hooray. So now obviously I can't just end the episode here And this is a season finale, so I think I'm just going to do a very, very quick tour around some of my builds that I've done this season. I'll try to make each one quick. I'm not going to linger too long on each one. And then I'll kind of come back and we'll do a little farewell. All right, let's start with my starter house. So this is a quaint little medieval style starter house. It's like a small tower with a house attached to it and a stable out front. I thought this was a really fun build to make. In fact, it went through a couple iterations. One time it even got pranked, and I liked the prank so much that I kept all of the pumpkins and honeycombs in the wall because I think it actually made it a nicer looking build. The base sits atop this awesome rock hill that I made. This thing took hours to make. This is my first time doing anything like that. I think it came out beautifully. Right next to my starter home, leading towards the rest of Spawn, is this beautiful bridge that Zink and I made early on in the season. We both forgot to record it, so it never made it into an episode, but it was a lot of fun building with Zinkberg for the first time. Next to my starter home is probably one of my favorite builds from this season, and that is Rapunzel's Tower. This is another build that I did with Zinkberg, and we spent several hours building this tower. It's a simple build structurally, but we just had a lot of fun just playing with shapes and colors and gradients and everything like that. And I just think this is just a beautiful, beautiful build, and I really, really like it. Also in part of this area that I kind of consider my Spawn complex, so to speak, is my boathouse. So this is a beautiful little boathouse that I made down here on the beach because I noticed a lot of boats were collecting on this beach from people traveling back and forth. So I made this cute little boathouse here so people could store the boats inside and have a safe place to sleep. This is actually modeled after a real-life boathouse that I found online. It was a very unique shape and structure, and I thought it made for a perfect little Minecraft build. Okay, this next build is my investigator's office. During Season 1, we had a storyline about a pumpkin invasion, and I played the role of the inspector, and I was going to investigate to see if I could find the source of the invasion. This investigator's office that I made to support that storyline, this was actually modeled after a Lego build. And I kind of took a picture of that Lego build, and I kind of modeled this building, this structure after that, and I think it came out really nice. I didn't use this building too much, but it was the setting for a couple of fun little film noir bits that I did around that investigation. This was a different style for me to build in, and I actually spent a lot of time on the interior of this one, and I think it really came out nice. I'm very proud of this build. All right, next stop on the tour is Doom Raider. This is a mini game that Zink and I made together over quite a bit of a number of weeks. It's a really fun game. It's pretty much like a maze of rooms. Each one presents different challenges that you have to try to get through and hopefully try to survive it all the way to the end. It's a lot of fun to play. It's very challenging, and a lot of people died a lot of times playing this game. But I also want to remind you that at the end of Season 1, there will be a world download. And if you join our fan Discord, you can find the link to that in my video description. Once that download is ready, you'll see an announcement and a link to get that world download. And you too could come over and try your hand at Doom Raider. Okay, now let's stop by the Shopping District. Shopping District was an interesting project. This was an idea we had going into Season 1 where we would actually hollow out the entire end island and make our shopping district inside that island. It was a very cool idea. It took us many weeks of digging endstone to get this accomplished, but I think all that work was worth it. It was a really cool idea. I built a few shops in here. The first one is my honey shop. This is one where I think the execution wasn't as good as the idea. I'll admit that. The idea was that there was a beehive hanging off of the side of the shop here, and the shop actually exists inside where you kind of go through the inner workings of the beehive to get to all the products for sale. That part was really cool. The exterior didn't quite turn out the way I envisioned. But even though the build was a little bit of a flop, I think the idea was a good one. The second shop I had in here was the redstone shop. If you recognize this, well, honestly, if you recognize this shape, you'll know it instantly. The idea of the shop, this is a weighted storage cube from the video game Portal. The inside of the shop is decorated up like a futuristic science fiction thing. It's got redstone components that you have to pull levers and everything to get to the actual products for sale. It was a fun shop to build. I really enjoyed it. And then that leads to the third shop that I built in the shopping district, and that is my witch shop. So this is a shop that sells everything that the witch farm produces. And there was this natural little depression in the back of the shopping district here, so I turned it into a swamp and built this nice little witch hut on that little swamp. The inspiration for this build came from a picture that I found online of a real-life small fairy house that someone had built in the woods, and I thought the shape and the colors and stuff were perfect, and I mimicked that in the build here, and I think this really came out nice. Alright, so that leads me out here to my farming area here out in the swamp. And this started out as the witch farm to supply the witch shop. But then I realized that I could pretty much farm everything I needed for the redstone shop here in this same area. So I built a whole bunch of farms here to support both of those shops. The first thing was a simple villager breeder. And I did that so that I could supply the iron farms with villagers. You can see the 4 towers in this. Each one of those towers is an iron farm. I didn't know how much iron I would need, and I didn't think one would provide enough, so I built 4. And I tell you, this thing made so much iron, it's a little ridiculous. I absolutely didn't need to build all 4 of those, but they look really, really cool. I built these towers using a pallet of endstone blocks, or endstone bricks, and the warped wood. I have never built with end bricks before, and because we had so many from mining out the shopping district, I figured, why not? I'm just going to give it a try and see what happens. And I think these actually really look nice. This was a really, really cool looking block palette. After those iron farms, the next thing I created was the slime farm. And that's this kind of round UFO looking thing over here. And I wanted to do it in the same color palette and style as those iron farms. And I'm actually really proud of this build. I think it looks incredible. The farm part is really just the main disc part of this UFO looking structure. Everything on the top is just there decorative to kind of bring that feeling of the roofs and the spires from those towers into this build. The other farms in this area include a massive bamboo farm. That was there for 2 reasons. One, to supply planks to make redstone things that needed planks, like chests for the hoppers and planks for the pistons. And the bamboo was also there to provide fuel for a smelter. So the build there right in front of the bamboo farm is the smelter. And again, I tried to pull that same kind of roof design through this, and I think that really looks nice. Next to the smelter is a pretty simple structure that's just a cobblestone farm, an automatic cobblestone farm. And that just sits there and produces cobblestone, and then I can put the cobblestone into the smelter to create normal stone. Both of those materials are required for several of the redstone components. And finally, this area has a giant wheat farm. And the purpose of that was target blocks. Target blocks need a lot of wheat, and I figured if I'd be AFKing out here for the witch farm, that was plenty of time for all of that wheat to grow. And one harvest from that, I think, gave me like 2 stacks of wheat bales or something like that. But it was a pretty big farm. It actually provided plenty of wheat to make my target blocks. In all, I think I really like this little farming area. It produces lots of different things, and from those things, I could create every redstone component. I think the only recipe ingredient that this couldn't make was the quartz. Other than that, this made everything I needed to fuel my entire redstone shop. And finally, here is my main base build. The idea for this build actually came from a picture on Pinterest that I found. And by the way, that's a really good resource to find just good ideas for making Minecraft builds. My entire base area here kind of starts with these small docks at the front here with this nice little welcoming house at the top of the docks. It comes into some beautiful landscaping that my friends here on the server helped me make. And then we have the main build itself. I really love the actual style and structure of this build. It kind of reminds me of a Norse, kind of a Viking lodge kind of a thing, with those sloped roofs and those big beams coming out. It's got that awesome tower kind of coming up through the middle. Up at the top of the tower, it has more of these kind of windows and more of those kind of slanted roof structures, and this nice shiny metal dome all the way at the top. I had a lot of fun trying to actually create this build off of that one piece of art that I found, and it's just a really good exercise in trying to figure out the scale of things and the size of things based on this one picture. And I think ultimately it became a really cool looking base. And of course, in the ocean next to the build is this beautiful Viking Longship that I just made this episode. There were a couple of other minor builds that I did around the server, like I did a Bobbing for Apple game over in the Halloween area. You know, I did like my market tents over in our initial market area before we made the shopping district. And I can't remember, but I'm sure I helped out on a few other things around the server. All right, before I go, I think I'm going to go ahead and unload all of my stuff. So let me find a chest. There, are they in here? Oh yeah, there's plenty of them in there. All right, so if you come out here to my main base, we'll just say you come in the front door right here. I'll leave it right here. Here's a little chest, and I'm gonna put all of my stuff in. This is everything from my ender chest. So you've got, I got a shulker full of tools. I got my rocket box. I've got my knapsack. I got my redstone box. We're going to put all of my armor in there and my tools. And we'll even throw in my carrots and stuff. This is my Polar Bros head. My diamonds, of course, I keep them hidden in my ender chest. So we'll go ahead and put everything I have in there. And let me go ahead and stick my head right there. So now if you want to come on the server and explore the server with my gear and with my head, you can come right here and get all my stuff and explore the server as me. So let me go ahead and just dump the rest of this junk because I don't need it anymore. All right, well, before I go, so there's been a prankster here who keeps coming by and lighting the candles on these bushes. So ever since I made this base, these green candles were here to make the bush look like it was a little taller. And we got some prankster who keeps coming around here and lighting these candles. So I'm going to put these candles out one last time. Now, we're going to see if that prankster finds the time to come by and light those candles again before the world download is completed. So again, after we make the world download, it's going to be available on our Discord site, our fan Discord site, and that link is in my description. You can join that site. You can come by and say hi to me and all the other crafters and all of our friends and have some fun conversations and sharing some laughs and everything. But also, you can have access to the link for this world download once it's ready. And once it's ready, you can come out here and again, see if that prankster has had a chance to relight these things. All right, well, now that season 1 is coming to a close, I think it's time for a vacation. There is a really, really beautiful place on the server that I think Zinc was the first one to find it, and we all call it the Ice Wall. It's just a beautiful, beautiful structure out there, and we've all looked at that thing and awed at its beauty. So let me go ahead and hop in my Longship and grab a couple of friends and head on out to that ice wall real quick, and then we can go ahead and wrap up this episode out there. Well, all of us here from CraftWorks are out here on vacation now at the ice wall. And from all of us, thank you so much for all of your time and support. All right, so until next season, you take care of yourselves, okay? Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
See you in season 2.
Bye.
There was
An idea.
To bring together
a group of remarkable crafters.
To see if we could become
Something more.
So when they needed us,
We could craft the builds.
that they never could.
In time, you will know what it's like to lose. To feel so desperately that you were right, yet to fail all the same. Dread it, run from it, but chaos still arrives.
Evacuate the village!
Engage our defenses.
And get this man some new glasses.
Fun isn't something one considers when balancing the server. This does put a smile on my face.
Now, who the heck are you guys?